Hello, everyone. Do you want your organization to change gears into high performance mode? This presentation gives you an overview on how OKR, a popular goal execution framework, can get you there. I'm George, founder of Stragiliti OKR, and I have 33 years of experience in delivering enterprise solutions to customers worldwide. What is the biggest barrier to achieving high performance? And it clearly is execution. Organizations may have a great strategy, great plans, but if it doesn't translate into execution, there's no use. Very often there are gaps in achieving the translation of strategy to execution, primarily because there's a misalignment of goals across functions, across teams. Often there's lack of clarity, and often it may be well articulated, but it may not be internalized well, or it could be affected by changes in external or in internal environments. Changes as massive as what COVID did can affect things significantly, and you will need to reorient fairly fast. Very tough for organizations to change and execute well. Collaboration barriers could be there. There could be a lack of review, for example, of what you want to get done and what people are actually doing. You need some utility, you need some tool, you need some framework to make all this work together. There are many frameworks out there, but the most effective one, as we have seen, is OKR. OKR has been around for some time. Intel used it in the late 90s. Google used it in the first decade of this century, and the team really used it effectively. It has been the secret sauce of many of the Valley companies. In 2018, John Doerr, the founder, or I'd say the proponent of OKR, brought out a book called Measure What Matters. And since then, it has really spread across the world. Different organizations of different sizes have started using it. It could be banks, movie companies, NGOs, apart from tech companies have started using it. Small companies, big companies, they all are now aspiring for fairly aggressive growth and performance goals using OKR. And this can now be executed in a structured manner. So what is OKR? It is O stands for objective, KR stands for key results. Achieve objectives, achieve what you want to get done is the what of it. Measured by key results is the outcome. So you want to achieve something and the expected outcome is defined, and it's more than one outcome that could occur to define what is an objective. For example, if you want to say your objective is to achieve rapid growth year on year, one needs to tangibilize it by defining it clearly, and the definition therefore would be, let's say 18% EBITDA for that context, or 35% growth in revenue year on year, or it could be 5% increase in market share in certain products of focus. So one needs to define this clearly. And once that is defined accurately, the OKR is set. Imagine if OKRs are now set clearly across your organization, across the leadership team, across functions, across layers. They know what they want. What are the top few objectives and key results to be achieved? A lot can be done once OKRs are set for organizations, tracked and measured. OKR emphasizes on a few things. For example, on outcomes. It's easy to define tasks and start working on tasks. But it's tougher to say, okay, this is what I'm going to achieve at the end of this quarter. This is what the team is going to do at the end of the quarter. It requires you to plan. It requires to think through. It requires you to sort of work out the reality and then define the outcome. But the advantage is there is alignment. People know what the other team is working. People know that whether you are in line with what the leadership wants, the company wants. The other thing is the number of OKRs taken are few. You only take what matters. You don't try to do everything. And what few things you do, you try and achieve with all your energy. And that makes a big difference. Third, of course, is measurement with data. It's not just a vague definition. One has to articulate the definition of every objectives with key results that are measurable. The advantage, therefore, is one exactly knows what the expectations are. For example, a vague definition of better brand visibility could be tangibilized better with clear outcomes, which are specific, which says, okay, 50% increase in organic inbound leads, for example, or click-through conversion rates become 11%, or social media impressions is over 100,000 per month. Very, very specific outcomes are defined, which one can even track and say, okay, I'm at 75% of my OKR for this particular key result, or for this one, I'm at 63%. One can be very accurate and one understands where one is at all points in time. OKR in action essentially is set for shorter periods in time. You could have goals and say maybe your mission could be defined for longer periods of time. But typically, most organizations do their OKRs for a quarter. You could do it shorter than quarter two if you want. So you imagine that you're setting up OKRs for across your teams for at the beginning of the quarter, preferably before the quarter. Things are set, and then one then checks in frequently on how one is progressing. A check-in is more of a system update. You don't have to go and have a meeting for a check-in. You just say, this is my progress, and everybody knows where you are. And a review is when you review how things could be done better. Initiatives are what you do to try and make sure that your OKR is achieved. When you start an OKR, you say, okay, I need to start off this program or this initiative to get these things done. And that's how initiatives are set up to achieve the OKR. Meetings are held not to sort of review or criticize or push, but rather to collaboratively work together with your team, with other teams to try and make sure that what should we do to make this OKR happen together. OKRs are set across organization levels, across units, across teams, and maybe for individuals also. And setting it is very, very important. Setting it well makes a lot of difference. And once it's set well, it can really transform. Once it's set, people start doing, and you can start seeing the results then. Goals are different for different organizations. What one function needs is different. What one department or division needs is another. What the company needs is another. What industry needs is another. So on the left, you see a bunch of potential objectives that people want to achieve. It could be a large number of them. And the way you get them done, sometimes some of them may be top down across the organization. Revenue growth, for example, require something set at the highest level, brought down to the lower levels, or it could be a combination of both. But sometimes goals or objectives are localized. It could be, for example, improving the performance throughput of the recruitment team to bring in more talent. It could be a localized, objective. So what is important for OKR is that if you didn't have a framework or a approach like this, you could probably do 2 or 3 of these objectives, run a program, track it, see how it's going. But once you have OKR going, you could do large number of such programs or OKRs. Each objective OKR is a program by itself, and it runs and self-runs and self-improves. And imagine a lot of these goals are getting fired across the organization, across levels. That's when you get into high performance mode. That's what makes it possible for organizations to track and to achieve. Maybe goals like 10x growth are possible if everyone is working together and firing together with all the OKRs defined and aligned together. That's when you can achieve 10x growth or any other audacious goal that you may want to achieve. So I should say it's not necessary that you not always have audacious goals. You could have steady recurring growth ones also. OKRs can be flexibly used for different situations. The goals are what you choose. You can be aggressive, you can be passive, you can be achieving certain other goals, which may not necessarily be high revenue, high growth also. OKRs can be flexible for all these situations. There is a body of knowledge now built up for OKR. You just search the net, type in OKR, and you should get a whole bunch of information or a lot of things. You can self-learn OKR literally. And so this body of knowledge has brought out certain terms like, for example, check-in or meetings, or for example, OKR coaches or OKR software, or there are these spin-off terms, spin-off utilities, spin-off tools or templates. All these are available And we could go deeper into each one of them once you decide that OKR is the way to go. Just to say that there is stuff available out there, and therefore you need not make some of the mistakes others have made. You can straight away dive in and get your OKR program to succeed. Once you start implementing OKR, you start maturing. Let's assume you're running OKR for a few months or a few quarters. What usually happens is that your OKRs start getting sharpened. There's clarity, there's sharpness in what you want to achieve. For example, if an objective is to improve project profitability, a specific key result, one among 3 or 4 could be we'll track the resource costs for a particular project and we'll ensure that it stays within on average of 43%. One can define such uh, accurate and sharpened OKRs only if one has gone through and measured. So what is the resource cost maybe in the first OKR cycle, then track that maybe in the previous cycle you were at 47%, and now you realize that to achieve a certain percentage goal, you may have to bring it down to 43%, and you know you can do it by doing a few things, and therefore you bring it down to 50%. So that happens by a team or a set of people or somebody heading delivery, taking this responsibility and making it happen. All this is possible only if you've set your OKRs, you've had run 1 or 2 cycles and keep sharpening your objectives and key results quarter on quarter to start achieving more and more for your company. OKR adoption can be started slowly. You can start, for example, first with the leadership team and maybe a level 1 team, then go down to various levels of your organization. And also across quarters, for example, first quarter, you can just focus on measuring things. In the second quarter, you can get down to improving marginally. In third quarter, you can be sharpened to get aggressive. In fourth quarter, you can look for continuous improvement. There's no hard and fast rule on how you can do it, but essentially it's taking it slowly and then aggressively expanding as time goes by so that it becomes a culture within your organization. It could become a water cooler coffee talk, which is, how's your OKR going type of conversations will start happening. And then you know that you really are in high performance mode. So to summarize, OKR is definitely better than other approaches. I mean, I've had many experiences with different types of performance systems, performance appraisals, MBO, KPI, MDNA. There are a lot of these performance frameworks growing, but this is the one I love best, especially in the post-COVID environment when outcome and hybrid work environments are critical. OKR does this well. It focuses on outcome. It ensures alignment across people. It doesn't matter where people are or teams where they are. It ensures that you're all aligning towards goals that are well thought through, well aligned. When changes happen, it's much better geared than other frameworks to handle things. And what I like most about OKR is that it facilitates teams to start working together. You don't not in a competitive environment, but rather in a collaborative environment. You start helping each other to achieve your goals because you know that you're all working towards the same overall goal. Clarity helps people to sharpen their work, sharpen and achieve the results, focus and achieve what is required, be realistic in what is required to be done, work together, things happen. And therefore, real results happen with OKR. And real results bring value almost immediately. An investment into OKR, well done OKR, really is worth it and can pay off even in quarter 1. An OKR software is important if you are using the system for more than 10 people. I mean, you need a way to record your objectives, key results. You need a way to check in frequently. You need a way to do your reviews, capture those reviews, and display it and share it. And so without a software, it's fairly difficult. And I should specifically say that one should not just look at a software that is records. There are many software, ERPs and HR systems, which is records, OKR. What you need is an OKR system that's very, very OKR cycle oriented. It has got a good visual display. It follows the practices of OKR, the best practices. It goes through a cycle of setting up, reviewing, people giving their comments, and improving it to the next quarter and alerting people, setting meetings, capturing initiatives. A lot of things which are OKR specific. And therefore, we always recommend having an OKR specific software that runs along with your OKR program. You need good people too. And before you go into people, you make sure that your OKR software has certain features that I just mentioned, initiatives, check-in, KPI libraries, meetings, reminders, And the other important thing is that it should be ready for use across an organization. It's not just one or two people using them. People should have their own OKRs. I should be able to see my team's OKRs. I should be able to share OKRs. I should be able to see the functions OKRs. Leadership team should be able to see the OKRs for, let's say, across levels. And they should be, aligned to OKR best practices. OKR software from Stragiliti OKR complies with all this. It's enjoyable UI. It's true to OKR practices, and it has a lot of powerful utilities. And if you're interested, we'd love to show you more about Stragiliti OKR. An OKR coach and consulting is important, especially you go through the first quarters, you avoid pitfalls, you sharpen your OKRs better. You can ensure that it goes across levels and there's continuity, not just across levels, but also across quarters. And it also helps you to build up your internal coaches to make things happen. And you self-learn how to do things, and then the program runs on its own. And good coaches come along with domain knowledge and templates, which can accelerate the way the OKR program runs and sharpen things much better and deliver value fairly fast. So that's all for now. If you want more, we're happy to give you a one-on-one consult, but with just one request: you should be a CEO or CXO of an organization and you're serious about implementing your organization. You love what you heard, you're serious about it, happy to give you a one-on-one consult. Do register at this URL, stragiliti.com/inquiry.html, and we can give you access to the software also for evaluation. If you want more details on the software products, you can see it at our website, stragiliti.net/OKR. Just a quick mention, Stragiliti is actually a low-code rapid development platform on which OKR is one of the SaaS products built on it. A large number of solutions have been delivered to clients worldwide over the last decade or so. And even OKR has been sold to many customers across the world. And definitely it's a solution that we should worth taking a look at. Thank you.